Hello everybody and welcome to the Purvis Puppet Theatre. This year we're celebrating 50 years of our puppet theatre, travelling all over the world, and I want to show you our headquarters here in Biggar. And here we are inside the puppet shop, surrounded by all the puppets that we have for sale. And then on the wall you can see part of the history of puppets. We find that audiences always want to know a little bit about how puppets began, and of course their history goes back many thousands of years. We're showing you a picture of the caveman who's just discovered that he can do shadows with his hand and cast them on the wall. Now we're going to move on to the Shadow Puppet Theatre. This is several hundred years later, maybe thousands of years later, in which we can see that they're making the puppets out of leather, which has been oiled to make it transparent, and they're busy doing a combat between the gods and the mortals on the screen. So everybody's sitting on or standing on the other side of the screen, but you can change your position if you want to, because sometimes all the men in the audience go to the man's side where the puppets are being worked, and the women are in the audience, or vice versa. So you can make up your own mind and you have a brilliant puppet theatre show. Now we're going to take you over to show you a medieval manuscript, and this is the introduction for the glove puppets too. There are some people watching a glove puppet booth, and the Mr. who's doing the glove puppets is in fact balancing the theatre on his shoulders. It's strapped to his shoulders and he's got the knights in armour busy fighting. So all the spectators are busy placing bets. They've got sporrans on, that's the origin of sporrans. They're going to place the bets because they are starting off the glove puppet theatre. Now we're going to show you some of the Victorian puppets, because of course you can see they're inside a tent. The Victorian age was the golden age of puppet theatres, yes, but more than that, it was the golden age of fairs. And you can see that they're inside a tent. We've taken down the curtain so you can see how it's all done. On the stage you can see the dissecting skeleton flying apart and coming back together again. We still use that puppet in our own shows, so he's had a long and checkered history. Then at the sides of the theatre you can see a clown. He's juggling all the balls there, and they go up and down the strings. And at the far side over there you can see there's a clown who's got no less than 4 different heads, which he pops up out of his shoulders. They're basically contained in there. So that is just one of the interesting trick characters that they did in the Victorian puppets. And now we've reached modern times at last, and you can see your old friend Kermit there, because of course he's one of the Muppets, and our company have a special link with him as well, because one way and another Colin, my son, has taken part in a number of the Muppet films. There you can see the 3 of them. They're all hard at work. You don't need to have a lot of scenery or a theatre to do the Muppets, because the frame itself provides a theatre, and that does the trick. So that brings us right up to date with all the puppets from the show. Well, here we are inside the Victorian Toy Theatre, where all the puppets live. This is made for the puppets to appear in, the Purvis puppets especially, and it has all the landmarks of the Victorian Toy Theatre, which was called the Pollock's Toy Theatre because it was mainly sold by a man called, amazingly, Mr. Pollock. So we have those ones. You can see the Queen Victoria's head up above the stage there. Why is it there? It's because we're thinking of when she said, "We are not amused," because in this case it's a bit different. She says, "We are amused." Well, now we can take a look at the figures at the side of our theatre, the Punch and Judys. Here they are. And Mr. Punch is, of course, the great representative of British puppetry, and his wife Judy, they figured in all sorts of different situations. So, here we are inside the Puppet Theatre, looking at all the signs of the zodiac up on the ceiling. And you may wonder why they all got there, and the answer is that it's a tradition. Because long ago the sailors didn't have a compass, it hadn't been invented, and so they used to have to recognize each constellation, and they steered by the stars for the ships. So the one that we have over there, the Leo the lion, you can see there are 5 stars to make up the lion's head, and then they run down the back of his spine to the tail. So all the signs of the zodiac are done like that in our theatre, and that's how the magic of the show begins. Well, here we are right at the back of the theatre where I've painted a very interesting mural. And the mural is based on the story of Snow White and the 7 dwarfs. But, aha, in the Russian version, it isn't 7 dwarfs, it's 7 brothers, 7 boyars, not boyos, but boyars. And they tell all the story. Let us have a look and see. Because over here, we've got Snow White being tempted by the wicked queen, who's disguised as an old peddler woman. The wicked queen is trying to tempt Snow White to bite the apple. And when Snow White bites the apple, ta-da! And here we have the final scene, because this is the youngest brother here, and he is waking up Snow White from her sleep because they thought she was dead, but the youngest brother rouses her from her coffin, and going up here now, there we go. He's taking her away to get married. So there they are on the horse's back, the white horse, and the wind is blowing them along, looking rather like Billy Connolly on a bad hair day. Yes, so there's all the different parts, and all the jewel stones and everything that you see inside are real jewels. Yes, they are, and they're all part of the same picture. So you remember all about Snow White and the 7 dwarfs and the 7 boyars. Not boyos, but boyars. And now my daughter Vicky's going to demonstrate some of our puppets to you on the stage itself. So it's over to Vicky.
I hope you've enjoyed the guided tour so far. I'm just going to show you some of our puppets now that we use in our stories. So we actually use what's called black light, where we use a special ultraviolet that makes all the puppets shine and glow in the dark. So let's have a look at that, shall we?
Here we are. So now we're in the ultraviolet light, and you can see the skeleton dancing around. And I'm invisible now, of course, because I'm dressed head to toe in black. Whee! Yeah! Yep, look at this, his head can come off too. Woo! And he can even separate his bones. Great for Halloween. So this is an example of the Victorian marionettes that you saw in the paintings of the history of theatre. So it shows you can still do it right up to the present day. Woo! Okay, brilliant. So I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration, and it's back to you, Dad.
And now we've reached the end of the trip to the Puppet Theatre, so the gates are closing and we say goodbye to you. Goodbye.